Please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Peter O. Wosu, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Student Success.
Good morning, members of the Lehman College family. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate what I know will be another spectacular year for Lehman College. I'd like to thank the Lehman College Jazz Ensemble led by Alan Molnar for their inspirational opening of today's convocation. Let's give them a round of applause. President Lemons, distinguished guests, students, members of the faculty, staff, and administration, welcome to Convocation, the traditional opening of the academic year. Before we begin today's program, let's take a moment to give ourselves a collective round of applause for securing accreditation this past summer from the Middle States Commission on Higher Education. The reception following the convocation is an opportunity for further celebration of this huge accomplishment. Well done, my friends. Well done, my colleagues. Well done, everyone. Right now, I'd like to ask the members of the President's Cabinet and Deans to please rise and be recognized. You may be seated. I would also like to take a moment to recognize our Grand Marshal, Professor Ann Rostein of the Department of Early Childhood and Childhood Education. She has been here for 57 years. Let's give her a round of applause again. And our Deputy Grand Marshal, Professor Herbert Broderick of the Department of Art. Also joining us as our two faculty marshals is Associate Professor David Hyman of the Department of English and Associate Professor Prabodhika Malikarachi of the Department of Chemistry. And representing our fantastic students, Mr. Riali Hernandez, President of the Lehman College Student Government Association. Now it is an honor for me to introduce our president of this historic and wonderful institution, Dr. Daniel Lemons.
Thank you and good morning. Good morning. So welcome to the beginning of our 2019-2020 academic year. I'd like to acknowledge someone first off who is an educator also and who has stuck with me through thick and thin, my wife and my partner, Mary. So it's a fitting way to begin to start with what's new, and there is much new at the beginning of this academic year from last convocation. We have 24 new faculty members that are listed in your program. We have a new provost, a new research director, new legal counsel, and our new incoming first-time student class, 942 total. Our total enrollment of 15,542 students is a historic high since the 1970s. And of course, I'm also new in my role. in my third role, I think, since I came to Lehman last fall. The opening video recounted the many impressive accomplishments from last year. And for those, and all of us who had a hand in that and worked tirelessly to see that they happened, let's have a round of applause. Clearly, we've set a high bar for ourselves this year. But one accomplishment the video didn't mention, and maybe one of the best indicators of how we're doing, is actually a number. It's 9%. That represents how much higher our graduation rate is than what it's predicted to be, according to a recent study by the New York Times. The Times analyzed a number of factors related to student success for over 370 colleges around the country, and then for each calculated what their predicted graduation rate would be. Lehman College was found to be doing much better than predicted. That's an indication. That is an indication of how much is right and how much is powerful here at Lehman College. Comparing ourselves to others may be a bit questionable, but it can be useful if it helps us to understand how we can do better. Atul Gawande wrote an essay about that 15 years ago that was published in the New Yorker. It was called The Bell Curve. He learned something extraordinary about the treatment of cystic fibrosis, a genetic disease that causes thickened mucus in the lungs that builds up and eventually leads to a premature death. On average, patients lived just over 30 years. However, patients in one center in Minnesota, the top performing center, had patients that were living on average 46 years, an astounding 50% longer. Gawande wanted to find out, so he spoke with the center's director, who said, "The difference in what we do is simple. We do whatever we can to keep our patients' lungs open." He said he and his colleagues were not content with 80% pulmonary function or 90. They wanted 100. Gawande concluded that doctors with great knowledge and technical skill can still produce mediocre results, and that factors that are difficult to quantify, like aggressiveness, consistency, and ingenuity, can matter enormously. Aggressiveness, consistency, and ingenuity. These seem to be the ingredients for success in any endeavor, including higher education. Gawande concluded his essay with this: if the bell curve is a fact, then so is the reality that most doctors are going to be average. There's no shame in being average, right? Except, of course, there is. Somehow what troubles people isn't so much being average as settling for it. Our lives and the lives of children are at stake, and we expect averageness to be resisted. So I push to make myself the best, and if I'm not the best already, I believe that I will be, and that you expect me to be too. Well, I see a clear parallel between Gawande's insight and the comment that was in the New York Times article about graduation rates, and I'll quote, "Perhaps the biggest lesson from our reporting is that colleges that have higher graduation rates simply seem to have been trying harder and longer." The news about Lehman College's higher than predicted graduation rate confirms that by one important measure, we are on the right of the bell curve. We're punching above our weight. And we should be pleased, but not content. We intend to do better. Some of the colleges in the New York Times study are doing 20% better than expected in their graduation, and that's the group that we want to join. On the leading edge of the bell curve: aggressiveness, ingenuity, and consistency. That can get us there. But who am I to tell you this? A newcomer to Lehman College, an even newer president of Lehman College. You can find my official pedigree on the website, and you will find some things about me there, but there are some personal details that are not there. And I feel they might be worth your knowing. I grew up on the other side of the continent, on the other ocean, on the corner of my grandfather's farm. Did a lot of things on that farm growing up that would not please the guardians of OSHA, like pulling heavy farm equipment with a tractor when I was 9 years old. My father was not a farmer, he was a carpenter. He trained on the GI Bill after leaving the Navy at the end of World War II. After completing his training and working for a few years, he started his own cabinet shop with $50 that he had saved. So growing up, I spent a lot of time in that cabinet shop, cleaning up scraps of wood and sweeping sawdust. Eventually, I actually learned a little bit of cabinet making. There wasn't much question that I, unlike my mother and father, would go to college. But that did not diminish the importance of learning to work with my hands, and I did. At 14, I decided I knew enough that I could make my own piece of furniture, a desk, and enter it in the county fair competition. So with my plan, I cut my pieces of wood, I fit them together, assembled them, clamped them, glued them, let it dry, and then I felt very satisfied admiring the beginnings of my desk after about 15 hours of work. So my father came along and he had a look. He examined my work for a minute and then he said, "Is your box square?" Now, if you've ever built anything, you know that if you don't start with it being square, the drawers will not fit well and the doors are going to hang on it in a very sad and unhappy way. So I told him, "Well, I think it is." And he said, "Well, let's check." Now, if you're working on the metaphors for this story, this is the part that we call assessment. So I got out my carpenter square and I put it on the corners of the desk. And, you know, it's something that carpenters do when they want to check it, they make sure everything is at a right angle. So I measured the box. I assessed my outcomes. There was a 1/4 inch gap. And it was proclaiming very loudly that I just failed the first step of my desk making. Now, my dad, he probably sensed my disappointment and embarrassment. He probably also knew that I was beginning already to convince myself that a 1/4 inch was okay. I could maybe live with that. And he said to me, "You know," and it's something that has stuck with me my whole life. He said, "The important thing is not that you made a mistake. The important thing is that you figure out how you're going to recover from that and go on." He also added, "And you can't reach a successful conclusion on this project if you don't get this square." Now, I could recognize the wisdom of those words, but I wasn't happy because that meant I had to take my box apart. 15 hours of work to repeat. Reluctantly, I did that. Now, the story does have a happy ending. I took my desk to the fair and I won not only first prize at the county fair, I won grand prize for the whole state. So obviously winning was really great, felt great, but I think from this perspective, what really was the best thing about that was what my father said to me about making mistakes, recovering from them, laying solid foundations, and moving on. Now, unfortunately, I've never found a way to avoid the mistakes, making, I'm sure, more than my share of them since then. And collectively, we also can't avoid making mistakes. But partly because of my father's words and example, I have learned to pick myself up most of the time and fix what went wrong. Not always without grumbling, and sometimes coming out at a better place in the end. So this story relates to my earlier recounting of treating cystic fibrosis. Gowanda found the top CF treatment centers, encouraged innovation, was tolerant of failure, and built on the successes. Success usually is built on failures, and my dad was right in saying so, and that it wasn't the mistakes that counted, and we had to use them to teach us how to succeed. It also relates to where we are at Lehman College right now and where we want to go. We have a solid foundation, which our student success over recent years clearly shows, but we have more building to do, and that will involve innovation, mistakes, and overcoming them. We can no doubt look back and identify missteps and mistakes at Lehman College. These could provide us with plenty of reasons for why we can't go on and make new efforts and innovate. We could wonder if 90 by 30 is too ambitious. But that shouldn't be the lesson we take away. We learn from our failures, and then we revise and we start again. We learn to do better as we go on, and the results can be big. Like building a desk by hand or achieving our goals with aggressiveness, ingenuity, and consistency, approaching the year ahead with a strategy in mind is likely to yield good results not only for this year, but for years to come. There are a number of people in the room who have helped us to begin a formal strategic planning process, which began with a restatement of our mission, vision, and values. And it will guide us as we establish the priorities and the goals for the college from 2020 to 2025. Task forces in each area begin their work this fall, and we'll finalize this strategic plan next spring. One way to measure its success will be our progress related to the 90 by 30 challenge issued by President Cruz in 2017. It underscores our engagement with major societal concerns such as socioeconomic inequality that arise at that intersection between racism and sexism. 90 by 30 declares that we will be aggressive and we will be consistent and ingenious. And 90 by 30 locates our work on those challenges to our borough and our neighborhoods. Since 90 by 30 began, we've experienced 2 successive years of increasing graduation numbers, higher than necessary for the growth trajectory that we need to get 90,000 certificates, high-quality credentials, and graduates by 2030. That gives us confidence in our ability to continue in that way and to make sure that more deserving New Yorkers play a vital role in the Bronx Renaissance that we're a part of. It also can help us lead other public institutions across the nation who share the moral imperative of increasing the number of adults who have higher education degrees and credentials. While Lehman is ranked highly in a lot of places, there is still much work to be done. Not everyone in the Bronx benefits equally from our current renaissance. Poverty rates have gone up. The income mobility rate for children from poor families is still the lowest in the country. Women between the ages of 25 and 34 who have been attaining advanced degrees at a higher rate than their male peers for some time are the largest demographic in the Bronx in poverty. These are certainly circumstances that require aggressiveness, ingenuity, and consistency. But now, we know that we have a capacity here to do that and to fulfill that mission. Lehman is nationally recognized as a vehicle of upward mobility, and we plan to continue leading that and shaping the future. And we saw in our slide presentation some of the data that shows us what we are doing. And we'll do so while understanding that the demands that makes on our growth are physical and human resources. This brings me back to both the bell curve and my desk-making experience. We'll undoubtedly find that some of the things work better than others. And we'll have to continue to innovate and be determined. And the most effective way to meet the 90 by 30 challenge will be increasing the chances of students who come here, increasing student success of those who enroll, both first-year and transfer students. By increasing their likelihood of graduating, we advance 90 by 30 without needing to so dramatically expand enrollment, which strains our resources and could challenge the quality of the education that we're able to deliver. To do that, we'll launch the ACE program Accelerate, Complete, Engage, in which we expect greater than 50% of the first cohort of students, of 250, to graduate 4 years from now. And the big news, which we are announcing for the first time today. Drum roll, please. Thank you. Is that funding has been identified to support a second ACE cohort in the fall of 2020, which is a commitment of an additional $4 million. That brings to $8 million the amount has been committed to this project. A formal announcement will be forthcoming, but I want to pause and thank a special guest that is with us today, Donna Linderman. Donna is the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs for CUNY, and she has been instrumental in first bringing ACE to Lehman and in securing both the the initial $4 million Robin Hood Foundation grant, and now the one that I am announcing today. So Donna, thank you. So we have other things that we're going to be doing, and I will just mention them very quickly, that will increase our student success as we plan to do. We will have curricular innovation and pedagogy innovation that we will want to pursue, and curricular realignment. We also want to add new programs in high-demand areas and expand and sustain the use of data to help us guide those improvements. Just like the square for my desk, and just like the example in cystic fibrosis. As we refine our curricular and our other investments, we're also updating and renewing our physical infrastructure. Tomorrow, we will have the ribbon cutting for the renovation of the Performing Arts Center, the PAC. We will soon reopen the newly renovated first floor of the library. And in the coming months, we'll break ground for our new $75 million nursing building. So lots to celebrate. But for us to grow and improve in the quality of our programs and add new innovative programs for students, faculty, and staff, we all need to engage in these efforts together. That's how we'll get things done. I'll spend a lot of my time in the coming months seeking external support for Lehman College, while Provost Nwosu leads the strategic growth and investment plan, which will be a way for us to find how we can best expend and use the resources that we have available to us to get those results that we want. Other ways that we will be working this year will be having to do with the strategic plan, of course, and there are other things I'm not going to be able to mention just for lack of time. We have a lot going on this year, and we will need everyone to be engaged in order to succeed at all those many endeavors. Now, I've been here long enough that I know that we have highly effective and dedicated staff and faculty, and that will enable us to do those things. Lehman stands out in that way. We're not perfect, and I think I've made it abundantly clear that we expect mistakes and we'll work together to solve what comes. But we are remarkably strong because we know how to collaborate. I learned last week about a group of 15 staff members who meet weekly to problem solve and brainstorm. They call it innovative collaboration. That's what is called Lehman magic. And I think that's a Lehman copyright. So I hope I've conveyed to you this morning the forward motion that I invite you all to continue to be a part of in this new academic year. Our movement won't be a linear path of progress, but we're not just repeating what we did last year and many years before that: fall, winter, spring, summer. Some of us at Lehman have been a part of that annual cycle for many years. We just heard a remarkable example of that. And some of us have done that for a shorter time, but as we make that annual journey, we do not arrive back where we started the year before. We've traveled to a new place. We're moving in a spiral: first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Some of the repetitions that are part of each turn of that cycle are not that helpful to our progress, and you can imagine some of those. But many of those repetitions are, and they're regenerative, because they keep us moving and they remind us of who we are and what we're about. Our spiral arises from a solid foundation laid down years ago that set Lehman College on its course as squarely on the side of social justice. As we live and work through our next trip around that spiral, and along that trajectory, my hope is for us that we will use that repetition to move us forward, not flatten our trajectory or our potential for accomplishments. We'll retain a sense that we are moving into new territory, not simply reliving another turn of the seasons. I'll end this morning. I know it's been long, but I want to end this morning with a thought that comes also from my father. He was a religious man with a simple but not a simplistic view of life. Every morning for years, he repeated this same prayer as we sat around the breakfast table. Lord, bless this new day, as yet untouched, unspoiled, and undiscovered. This sense of new beginning is a good model for us this year. And that works whether we're religious or not. It captures something of what I've tried to call out this morning. We are moving forward another year in our journey, and what ahead is unknown. And it is yet not realized, and it depends in large part on what we decide to do and be as a community of learners and seekers. My adaptation of my father's prayer for us is this: may we begin this new, as yet unspoiled, untouched, and undiscovered year with fresh eyes, open hearts, and minds. May it surprise us. May we arrive here next year with another set of remarkable accomplishments, some planned and some unexpected, but all furthering our mission to our students, our borough, our city, our country, and our world. Thank you, and I wish you all the best as we go together into this new academic year.
Now, please welcome the Lehman College Student Jazz Ensemble, featuring soloist Dania Miguel of the class of 2020. Please welcome Professor James Mann, Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities, who will present the Teacher of the Year Award.
I am very proud to present this award to Dr. David Hyman, Associate Professor in the Department of English. When I quote from his nomination letter, you will understand why he is so deserving of this honor. Professor Hyman is known among the students as the professor who can teach anything. His ability to transfer genuine passion and knowledge of diverse literature to his students sets him apart from other professors. His zeal is unmatched. His classroom is a consistent place of enlightening conversation, of students eagerly engaged and committed to growth. He is wise yet humble. He makes the impossible seem possible. He is committed to being the professor who will be there for his students in times of challenge. Our congratulations to Professor Hyman on being named Teacher of the Year. Will Professor Hyman and President Lemons please step forward?
Please welcome Professor Pamela Mills, Interim Dean of the School of Natural and Social Sciences, who will present the Adjunct Faculty of the Year Award.
Dr. Richard Baratella, an adjunct assistant professor in the Department of Physics and Astronomy, has been selected Adjunct Teacher of the Year by a committee comprised of students and previous award recipients. According to his nomination letter, Richard is not only a talented and inspiring teacher while in class, he devotes a lot of time to his students outside of class. Students can essentially go to his office and ask questions any time of the day or night. He always makes himself available to them, and they feel comfortable with him. Now, physics is a subject that some people say is quite challenging and scary to many of our students. Richard, having been a Lehman undergraduate himself, knows our student population, and although he is rigorous and demanding, he is also there to help and support them. Professor Baratella could not be with us today. He has a prestigious national fellowship. But please join me in applauding his achievement.
And now please welcome Vinnie Prohaska, Interim Vice Provost for Academic Programs, to present an award for outstanding contributions to the college.
I think everyone in this auditorium will agree that this recipient is more than deserving of an award for her outstanding contributions to Lehman College. As most of you know, Alice Michelle Augustine, a Lehman alumnus, is the director of the Office of Prestigious Awards. She started her professional career at Lehman in 2010 as an adjunct faculty member in the English department. In 2015, she began full-time service at Lehman, running the Emerging Scholars Program, which over time, and along with other initiatives, evolved into the Office of Prestigious Awards. Under her leadership, The office has had a profound effect on the lives of Lehman students. Last year alone, 53 Lehman students won 71 awards, totaling close to $2.4 million. That's right, I don't want to leave that so quickly. Just really dwell on that. $2.4 million to Lehman students. According to Professor Paula Lascoco, who nominated Ms. Augustine, quote, "No single person has worked more tirelessly or effectively for the past 4.5 years to put Lehman students on the national map more than Ms. Augustine. She has enabled every Lehman student to aim as high as their dreams take them. How Ms. Augustine has been able to do so much speaks to her drive, her love of Lehman College students, and her ability to help her students succeed in every realm of academic accomplishment," unquote. For her tireless dedication to Lehman students and her success in enabling them to shoot for the moon and hit it, Ms. Alice Michelle Augustine is well-deserving of our outstanding contribution to the College Award. I now ask Ms. Augustine to join us on stage.
And now, please welcome Mr. Ronald Bergman, Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer, to present the next award for outstanding contributions to the college.
Good morning and thank you. I think that we should congratulate all our honorees, but also we should provide a round of applause for the leadership provided by the President and the Provost and thank them for their aspirational efforts. At their best, digital technologies reflect what the college cares about, and if done well, they distinguish us by creating a positive experience for the community we serve. No one creates better technologies than our next honoree, Dr. Elkin Urea. Elkin is one of the most remarkable people with whom I've worked. Along with an amazing IT team, some of whom are here today, Elkin has developed innovative solutions that have advanced Lehman's mission and support both student and institutional success. You know these as the electronic workload system, LOMARS, Lehman 360, and most famously, Process Maker, our process automation tool, which has now been adopted by 7 other colleges in CUNY, and CUNY has recognized Elkin and his Lehman partners with 3 Excellence in Technology awards over recent years. Elkin has brilliant technical skills. We all know this. But what makes Elkin exceptional is his quiet passion, his kind demeanor, and his incredible work ethic. The President spoke about mistakes, and we make a few in IT. I know that you don't think that all the time. But he's always working behind the scenes. As recently this summer, when he was on vacation in Spain, he was on the phone for hours helping us fix a technical problem. He's treasured across the campus for his close collaboration with many of the people here today, helping to reimagine and automate processes that are years old and, dare I say, decades old. This has resulted in EPAF, iDeclare, E-grade correction, among others, and together these systems have launched more than 100,000 transactions and have reduced processing time by thousands of days. Elkin's most recent innovation, and one that is most impactful, has resulted from a partnership with enrollment management and academic departments. The new automated credit evaluation system for transfer students is one of a kind. It has streamlined approvals for equivalencies and has increased satisfaction across the board. We so appreciate our partners, and it is an office outside of IT that took the time to nominate Elkin for this well-deserved recognition. So we appreciate that. In his kind and humble and resolute manner, Elkin represents the best of Lehman and exemplifies IT's mission of deliver, lead, and innovate. Thank you, Elkin, and please come down and join the President and myself.
And now please welcome Ms. Renee Rotolo, Interim Vice President for Administration and Finance and Chief Financial Officer, to present the next two awards for outstanding contributions to the college.
It's a tremendous honor for me to present Outstanding Service Awards to two members of the Administration and Finance team. First is Lieutenant Alicia Cruz, Assistant Director of the Public Safety Department. She has served Lehman admirably in this position for 19 years. In his letter of nomination, Fausto Ramirez, our Director of Public Safety, cited her sensitivity, honesty, and concern for others as qualities she demonstrates every day. She oversees the daily incident reporting system, ensuring that the reports are correctly classified and are distributed in a timely manner. But beyond her daily activities, it is her willingness to help members of the campus community who come to us for assistance. Her calm, respectful manner has helped ease difficult situations for members of the Lehman family. According to Fausto, many people have commended Lieutenant Cruz for assisting them with her calm, caring demeanor. I am delighted to present this Outstanding Service Award to Lieutenant Alicia Cruz. I'd like to ask Lieutenant Cruz to join us on the stage. Now on to our division's second award winner, Valerie McQueen, who has been with Lehman's Buildings and Grounds Department for over 26 years. We all know what outstanding service means, going above and beyond the job description for the good of the college community. For Ms. McQueen, outstanding service meant being vigilant in her surroundings. And thanks to that vigilance, a potentially serious incident in the Apex was averted. During the course of her work as a custodial assistant, Ms. McQueen noticed that the skylight panels on the pool side of the corridor had moved down from their frame. She immediately notified her supervisor, who notified the administrative superintendent. Her vigilance and quick action saved the college from what would have been a disaster with real potential for serious harm if the panels had fallen. Her heroic actions make her more than worthy for this award. I am delighted to present this Outstanding Service Award to Valerie McQueen. I'd like to ask Ms. McQueen to join us.
And now, please welcome Ms. Tariali Hernandez, President of the Lehman College Student Government Association.
Good morning. Good morning. Students, faculty, staff. My name is Tariali Hernandez, and I am a candidate for a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry for the class of 2020. Don't worry, I won't be talking about chemistry today. I feel honored to have the opportunity to be standing in front of you on this very special day that officially inaugurates the beginning of the academic year. To our incoming freshmen and new transfer students, welcome to our ever-growing community. To our returning students, welcome back. I have been fortunate to earn the respect and trust that has granted me the great responsibility to represent the student body of this great institution. With that also comes the pleasure of working among fellow student leaders who are dedicating their time to student government. I cannot express how much I admire the resilience that characterizes the students here at Lehman College. We are in a college that proudly serves non-traditional students, students from underrepresented minorities and multicultural backgrounds. Yet, we emerge as students who seek to represent and serve the needs of our community. We understand that this very place is a transformative catalyst that every day expands our knowledge and perspective of the world. Even more important, we come determined to obtain degrees that impact our socioeconomic status and drives us to upward mobility. When I came to Lehman, I immediately knew that I wanted to get the best out of my education. Determined to do so, I decided to take the leadership classes offered on campus. And it has been the best decision I've made during my time in college. I decided that I wanted to grow as a student leader, and although I wasn't sure on how, I wanted to be helpful in any possible way. I now happily serve as a leadership mentor, which indeed is a learning experience in which I get to serve as a resource to other students. So one thing that I could assure the students that happen to be listening is that this campus is full of opportunity. If you apply yourselves, you will be obtaining a degree in a career of your choice. But you will be walking out of here with an education and a skill set that cannot be taken away from you. An education that engages and empowers you. Please allow yourselves to reach and go beyond your potential. Whether you believe it or not, you are in fact fighting disparity. So allow this journey to have a positive impact on you. I will tell you all to take risks, try new things, find students who share your same interest, enjoy and support the arts on campus, and most importantly, listen to your instinct. I am hoping for a great semester, and I wish for everyone to have the best of luck throughout the academic year. I look forward to sharing new experiences and seeing you on campus. And finally, I hope all of you will join us at the reception in the faculty dining room following this program. Thank you.
This concludes Convocation 2019. Please rise and remain standing until the academic recessional is finished.